It's Friday, May the 10th, 2024. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. This is Things You Might Have Heard for Friday, May the 10th, 2024. And what we have for you in the queue are 8 stories from yesterday that you vetted as conversational. You told me these were good stories to chat up, and they cover topics that include things such as politics, current events, pop culture, and informational news. Now, how they got here, we'll explain that whole process in just a bit, because you literally put the words into my mouth for this morning and every single time we do one of these things. So we'll get to that after we do all the headlines, the 8 headlines that you said were coolest. But I want to remind you right here off the top of the bat, we are living online at thisistheconversationproject.com, our online home, where you can find out details about what we do at the Conversation Project, and the conversation inbox at gmail.com is our email address, so we can chat up things as things happen. Covering topics including Barron Trump, actually some Donald Trump too, so we got a twofer on the day. UmaSofia Srivastava, which I totally butchered, and we'll get to her and Miss USA as well a bit. And Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is back in the news, technically, but we'll get to how that works in just a moment. Now, I want to remind you, these stories are not promoted in any particular order as we present them right now, but we'll give you some context on how they got to be where they got to be in their lineup for today. Like I said, you tell me what stories are worth talking about, and we talk about some of those stories every single weekday morning for Things You Might Have Heard. Let's get into story number 1. The headline is the biggest one, if you will, even if it's not the big guy, but this is one that sort of blew my mind when it came across the wires. Shohei Ohtani, sorry, bad read this morning. Shohei Ohtani's interpreter gambling scandal is being developed into a TV series. A TV series being developed that revolves around the gambling scandal involving Shohei Ohtani's interpreter. The scandal made headlines when it revealed that Ohtani's interpreter was involved in illegal activities, including a theft of nearly $17 million from his client. Lionsgate Television will create this scripted series, which will delve into themes of trust, betrayal, and complexities of wealth and fame. Ohtani's interpreter, Erik Palladino, has since agreed to plead guilty to bank fraud and tax fraud as part of the scandal. Now, apparently nothing is real until a true crime series comes about of it, or some sort of Netflix, Hulu thing comes about. So if you didn't really believe that this guy who befriended Ohtani years ago and was along his trips around the world, was basically screwing him out of money all this time, well, now a TV show should hopefully make this true to you. We'll see how interesting it is. It's a very interesting story on itself. Is it worth a 8 limited edition series TV show? Apparently Lionsgate thinks they're going to make some money off this, pun intended. So we'll see how it works out. Let's start off with the big guy first. Trump affiliate group releases new national security book outlining possible second-term approach. So this is not technically a Trump story, but a President Donald Trump story, if you will. A research group associated with the former president has released a new national security book aimed at setting the stage for a potential second Trump administration. This initiative comes as Trump seeks victory in the upcoming election, suggesting his continuing emphasis on America First, a policy framework which has been previously critiqued for its approach towards international relations, including those with NATO and Russia, i.e. freezing out NATO and hanging out with Russia. Now, the America First policy is the generic policy that Donald Trump has pushed for years. But there's another thing in the background that says day one, a part of the I'm a dictator day one and I'm done with it. There's a lot of things that's going to happen to change the way the government works forever. And that is something that people are fearing about the next Donald Trump presidency. Or I should say possible, because we don't really know what's going to happen. Now, we will see what happens if he comes into office and how America First will go again, if the things that were overturned by President Biden that were essentially overturned by President Trump are overturned again, and how we're going to go forward as a nation in our world. We'll see that anyway, regardless of who's going to be our president, but it's going to be a big deal as Donald Trump, who had some tenure and has a resume so far, has a chance to go back to where things were. While people think their money was better then, we'll find out if the relations will be just as good and if their money will still be as good now, if those things happen. Now, the little guy, or not so little guy, Barron Trump selected as at-large Florida delegate in Republican National Convention. Barron Trump, the youngest son of former President Donald Trump, has been selected as at-large delegate from Florida for the Republican National Convention. This marks his political debut at the age of 18. Interestingly, That's the word. Ivanka Trump, president's wife, is not listed among the delegates for this event. The development occurs while Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, has been engaged in court activities most recent days. So life goes on, the actual trial goes on, the actual delegation and the running for the president does go on, even though they're concurrent, happening in parallel universe of each other's. And Donald Trump's son, youngest son, Barron, is joining into the family business per se, not so much representing his dad, but representing the nominee for president, who is his dad, at age of 18. Jumping into the world of politics, actual politics, not business, at age 18. As I said, very noted that Ivanka Trump, who is his daughter, who has been a part of all these things for a long time, is not a delegate, although I don't know if she's actually a resident of Florida. She may still be a resident of New York. I'm not exactly sure. That may be part of the issue. We'll see how this plays out, because we're going to see how this plays out in November eventually. Number 4 story. We teased this story, and we'll talk about how teaser stories work in a bit. But this headline is one that we wanted to talk about. I want to get deeper into because it goes into a deeper issue on pageants, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA. And yes, Miss USA is going to be a part of today's tease, a tease for the tease, if you will. But the headline for number 4 this morning: Miss Teen USA 2023, UmaSofia Srivastava resigns just 2 days after Miss USA stepped down. UmaSofia Srivastava was crowned Miss Teen USA in 2023 and decided to step down from her title, citing a misalignment of her personal values with the direction of the organization. This will come back to us, of course. This announcement came just 2 days after her win, marking the brief tenure of Miss Teen USA. UmaSofia Srivastava, I really should just say UmaSofia or Srivastava, was notably the first Miss Teen New Jersey to win the national title. Her resignation follows closely on the heels of another resignation in the world of pageant world, underscoring the potential large issue within the organizations concerning its values and directions, which, as I said, we're going to tease Miss USA again, as that's going to be a part of the larger story. She has another story that may work out the weekend about her actual resignation and how it went bonkers, if you will. Let's go to headline number 5 this morning. And this is good news. We think it's good news. FTX will return money to most of its customers less than 2 years after catastrophic crypto collapse. FTX, a major cryptocurrency exchange, has announced through a recent court filing that it plans to reimburse its creditors. The company reported it owes approximately $11.2 billion to its creditors, but estimates its assets to be around $14.5 billion. More assets than its debts. As it goes away, it can go away and pay everybody off, apparently. This plan is a significant step towards resolving the financial issues following the exchange's collapse and subsequent legal challenges involving its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried. This is good news. This is great. It's amazing how this is a case where a company that essentially blew a bunch of money to a bunch of folks that didn't own the money for, just took the money and used it, actually had enough assets when it was all said and done, apparently, to actually pay off those debts and just go away on a good note, other than Sam Bankman-Fried going to jail. This may be a happy ending for FTX. Maybe. We shall see. Headline number 6. People are tearing into Apple for its latest iPad commercial. Steve wouldn't have shipped this ad, it said in quotes. Criticism has emerged regarding Apple's latest iPad commercial, with notable backlash from the tech and advertising communities. Commentators and industry insiders, including venture capitalist Paul Graham, have criticized the ad's concept and execution, suggesting that it deviates from Apple's traditional standards of creativity and quality. Sentiment that, quote, Steve wouldn't have shipped this ad, unquote, reflects a brief and belief that the commercial does not align with high standards set by Apple's late co-founder, Mr. Steve Jobs, known for his meticulous attention to detail and innovative approach to product marketing. Criticism is further underscored by an Apple marketing executive admissions that the ad, which depicted a hydraulic press crushing musical instruments and art supplies, quote, missed the mark, unquote, and did not convey the intended message effectively. Moving on to headline in the 7th spot today. Lord of the Rings movie, said it again. The Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, being produced by Peter Jackson. Did you know you needed this? Well, apparently it's going to happen. Warner Brothers has announced development of a new Lord of the Rings movie titled The Hunt for Gollum, which will be produced by Peter Jackson. Andy Serkis will be playing Gollum as well. Again, he'll also be involved in the project in some other roles, producing, maybe writing a bit. The new film aims to develop deeper into the backstory of Gollum, how he got to be Gollum as opposed to being Smeagol. And the movie expected to add a new dimension to the beloved character and expand on his complex journey and make more money in the Lord of the Rings quadruplogy, because money is what it's all about. Do we need a story about Smeagol and his ascent into the Gollum world? Do we need to know how Gollum has a backstory that's deeper than just what's told by Bilbo in the actual Hobbit? We're going to get it. Unless something happens and it's trying to write it off for tax purposes, we're going to get it. If you love you some Gollum, if you hate some Gollum, either way, you're getting more Gollum coming soon. And the number 8 story this morning, finally. Las Vegas alien footage is real, is a quote, and it shows that 2 demon creatures, unquote, beings. That was a terribly read headline, but go with me for a second. About a little while back, we talked about the footage from Las Vegas of the alien race footage, where police went out to see a scene where there were people said, there are aliens in my backyard, and there's like actual dash cam footage of the whole thing. Footage in question that has gone viral depicts what is claimed to be an UFO carrying an alien or demon creature landing in the backyard of Las Vegas. The footage has stirred considerable public interest and debate over its authenticity. Experts cited its report has confirmed that it is genuine. I don't know who the expert is, but they say it's real, and the demon creatures described are there being picked up by this UFO in the backyard in Las Vegas. This assertion aligns with other expert evaluations, which suggest that the video is original, depicts unusual figures, possibly due to a shadow being cast, or the fact that they're demons, or something. There's also skepticism that some analysis say that it may be CGI, it may be better technology we use for the moon landing, because, that was back in the 60s, and manipulative techniques to make the video look like what it is. So everyone's not saying it's real, but more people are saying it seems authentic. Your belief in UFOs, aliens, and this Vegas encounter, of course, may vary. Let's get into our teaser story for today. With the teaser story is a headline that we put into the feeds for you to engage in when you get a chance to. Now, today is Friday, so the next time we do Things You Might Have Heard will be Monday. So this story will have to survive the weekend to be a story. And to survive the weekend, we have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and a teeny bit of Monday. And that will require it to be one of the top 30 stories of the weekend. We get about 30 stories in a day. So we'll take 10 stories per day, wrap them up, and then pull 10 of those stories to present to you on Monday. So it's a top 30 story for the weekend. We will give this consideration and let you guys get into this one. We may drop this down a little number because 30 is a lot of numbers to sift through. But right now it just seems like it's fair because we're going with 10 stories and going that route. The headline, which is the big part of the detail, because it continues on with Miss USA's and Miss Teen USA's saga, and it reads, Miss USA's resignation letter accuses the organization of toxic work culture. Now, I poorly read this headline before for Miss Teen USA, so apologies for that one, but we did not poorly read the headline a few days ago and a few times before when talking about the resignation, the leaving of Miss USA for mental health reasons. She just could not deal with the capacity of what was going on. It was just getting on her nerves. And now we know exactly how her nerves got gotten on, because she had this big old letter saying this is what is going on behind the scenes. Now, you may remember me talking about Gretchen Carlson a little while back and some other folks back in the day as we talk about beauty pageants, these pageants, which I am not a fan of. I'm also not a target demographic, so there you go. But how some of these things are, just torturous. They have been, and how trying to fix some of these things from the past has turned into even more torture. Apparently, it's that bad. We'll go deeper into the story if you deem it worthy of chatting up, and it's very simple. Make this a top 30 story for the weekend. Go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter or X, and you can just vote it up. Engage in the story. You have to actually like the story, engage in it to make it worth talking about. It's that simple. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. Get engaged in the story. Hit the emoji of your liking on whichever platform you want to at thisisaconversationproject.com to find information on it. It's actually on Facebook and Twitter, as I said. Facebook.com/thisisconversationproject and Twitter.com or X.com th_conversation. Vote it up as much as you'd want to, because there are 90 so other stories to get it into this one, and 30 other stories to compete for the actual viability of being in the headlines for 10. So you want this one to talk about, you want more Miss USA. We've had 3 times this week Miss USA. Let's start off next week with more of it, if you please. Let's go to our sponsor that we're going to spotlight this morning. That is, of course, Zenni Optical. Zenni Optical is going to be the best place to get a pair of glasses. I'm going to say that just right out. It's where I've gotten all these glasses all this times. It's a fair deal. How about you go for an inexpensive pair of glasses? Frames that look beautiful and don't cost very much. Lenses that work well and are just as good as anyone else's. They're plastic pieces of plastic, and they work well without any markup, without any extra hype onto them. And they do whatever you need them to do. You want ones that block the light from your computers? We got that. You want ones that change as you go in and out of the sunlight? We got that. You need things that are strong enough to go play sports in and are great glasses. We got that. And plus, even new technologies that are just as good and if not better than the other people out there, the other people online, and your optometrist. This can save you time. This can save you money. This can save you a whole lot of hassle and make you a better person, because you're saving time, money, and hassle. It's that simple. Check out our link at our website for Zenni Optical, because this is an affiliate link. If you use our link, we get a small commission for your purchase, but you pay nothing extra. How about that? This is a conversationproject.com/Zenni. This is a conversationproject.com/Zenni. This is a conversationproject.com/ZENNI for Zenni Optical. Get in on this thing today and get your next pair of glasses from a great company, Zenni Optical. Conversation Project lives online at this. It's conversationproject.com. We are the home to the Conversation Project, a part of the More Better Media larger spectrum of things. And we provide for you in this modality ways to see more news. News that you may have missed, news that you may have seen, but need a bit of different perspective, and a way to actually have conversations with people in the comments and with me, vicariously. People who may have an opinion or a slight different view of this than you do. We are looking for some help. We need your help. We need a lot of help going on this one. I talked yesterday and I stammered a bit on this one. Today I'm a little less stammering, but we're going to do some things. We're going to disappear here or there for a while. We are coming to some resolutions to some actual issues that are going on. Our house is soon to be repaired, we think. We're supposed to have been working on that this weekend. We're not doing that, so hopefully next week we'll be preparing to get into the house. We'll do some extra things along with that one. There's some things changing on in the world that are changes in the world. There's things changing on in the realm of doing this thing in some of the other companies. And there's actually some issues at my day job, the thing that pays the bills, that's requiring some extra attention because there's changes happening. The one thing that is always positive, always positively going to happen and always constant is change. And change is often a positive. A lot of things are positive changes, things to move forward on. But because of that, the timing of getting things done for this thing will be a bit wonky. We will produce, as far as we can tell, the actual newsletter every single morning. So we'll pull the news and we'll have the headlines there. So if you're not getting the news as it is in the newsletter, subscribe to the newsletter. Go to our website, this is conversationproject.com, and click on one of the past newsletters. Subscribe to the newsletter so you get the news articles every single day, even if it's not the video or the audio podcast. 6:20 is the time that you basically get that newsletter every single weekday morning. Stop by our website and consider being a partner. If we have more partners helping to pay the way, honestly, we'd have more time to do more things. I'd have to do less other things, could focus more on this one. And the improvements that would come for this one would be immense. The biggest improvement would be more staff who have more talent, more creativity, and more time to dedicate to the stuff here, so I can do my pieces and go away and let them do the fun stuff. Would be great. So if you want to consider that, go to our website, click on the link for that. The main partnership links are at Buy Me a Coffee with different tiers for that one. And if you just want to give a quick one-time donation, there are links to various ways there as well. This is something that means a lot to me. And unfortunately, the way the views go on this thing, people watch the headlines and they go away. They don't get past this anymore, especially since we stopped doing the fun stuff, full stuff at the end. So there's less to look towards at the end of the show. Who knows, that may come back because it is a way to draw people to the end of the show. But this is something that means a lot. This is a big deal. This is a lot of work that goes into this. And a lot of it goes because I want to get better news coverage and can't just scroll through randomly at a time and find the best stories. A lot of that is input from people, seeing how people are relating to things and getting things going on there. So it's great. But it also takes promotion. It also takes people to understand what's happening and things going on. And that takes work. That takes actual resources like money and time. If you think what we're doing is worthy, send me an email. Start with an email at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Let me know what we can do to make things work a little better. If you think that we're worthy of contributions, go to our partnerships page at our website and be a partner. Help us do things. If you are just having fun with it and just like it for what it is, or don't have the means to do very much with it, just stop by every few days or so and engage in some stories at our feeds, because that is the biggest thing that helps. If we get a large number of people to engage in these things and, more subscribers, when people kind of eyeballing it, we can go to bigger sponsors, go to bigger vendors to find things working that way. We can do that. Right now, be honest, good operation, just way too small, and the social proof out there, which sometimes is what's going to kill you. Most times is what's kill you. Social proof is showing that people who are doing very much worse journalism and worse information are getting the eyeballs because it's salacious and it's big. So if you want less salacious, less big, but more deeper discussion stuff, I need some help. If you're seeing this video, please consider it. So with that, let's go to our synergy piece for the day. And as I said, we are probably discussing bringing back the fun stuff in an expanded role, because it was a bit more, and we're going a little deeper some stuff, but this is one way to actually sort of synergize the other things we're doing. We're considering doing a fun stuff of the day newsletter, maybe a video on its own, but that seems like a whole lot of extra work. So we may just bring that back in some capacity and hopefully keep you watching this video longer. Today, we're going to spotlight the word of the day. It's probably not going away anytime soon, but the word of the day is a part of another project called the Big Words Project. And today's word is a not so big word. It is eager. Eager, which means keen or ardent in desire or feeling, impatiently longing. Eager. She was eager to start her new job, arriving early to make a good impression. That's a word that you probably already knew before, but hey, there's a lot of words out there. Some of them you may need to know more about there. So check out the Big Words Project at thebigwordsproject.com. This is the big word for today is eager, which, as I said, not quite a big word, but an important word nonetheless. Look for more details on how we are sharing the love of words and love of reading, particularly with the Big Words Project. And see if you want to get a copy of our latest book, Volume 1 of Big Words You Ought to Know, which has words such as eager, but also bigger words such as automatopoeia, one of my favorite words, there as well. $1 from each book that's sold is going to a local reading program. Every quarter, we'll collect them as we produce the next book and send those donations to a local reading program. This quarter is going to be AR Reads, Arkansas Reads, a program for kids reading. It's attached to the libraries here. And try to give them a big fat check, will you? They could use it. In the meantime, let's get into our Friday. Let's get into the actual Friday part of Friday. Friday, May the 10th, 2024 edition of Things You Might Not Have Heard is now done. Thank you so much for being a part of this program, whether you watch me live on the stream that pops up at 5:50 a.m. Central Time every single morning. A lot more people popping up on the Twitter or the X, so thank you X watchers for tuning in for us here. Or if you're going to watch this on a replay, because it lives online forever, because 6:20 in the morning is a little early for you, thank you so much for being a part of what's going on. Please comment on the video. Give me a comment to see where you're listening from, where you're watching from, listening if you're listening to the podcast or watching it as well. So we know where you are. So we do a better job of spotlighting you and doing more things for you. We want to do that for you. As I said, this thing's not going away, and it's going to get better, which means things will be harder to do, if you will, to put more effort and energy into some things. But it's going to get better. But we're looking for your help and your assistance to make it get better on an even keel. If you're up to that, go to our website, click on the partnerships page, and consider being a partner. the biggest thing you can do, always do, is follow us on our feeds at facebook.com/thisistheconversationproject or twitter.com, x.com/th_conversation. And you can email me at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Even if you aren't up to paying any money into the system, because we need the money in the system, email me with suggestions and email me with comments, and we will do our best to make it better, because making it better will help other people be more amenable to adding into the system. We thank you so much for being a part of what we're doing. Stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you are here to do. Love you guys so much. Let's get together for our weekend stuff. I didn't hype our weekend stuff. We're going to be very short on weekend stuff because we got a very busy weekend happening this weekend, and a busy couple of weekends prepping for the house was supposed to be part of the weekend. But we'll do some of the weekend stuff. We'll give you more news stories to cover all weekend long. We'll try to do some quick hits to give you some news to get into. And we're preparing for a Monday edition of Things You Might Have Heard. So vote up all the stories all weekend long. 10 stories we'll choose from the top 30 of the weekend, giving each 3 days kind of a fair shake of getting some stories in there to go for that one. And we will see what happens. We will see what happens. We will see what happens come Monday. Love you guys. Mean that so much. Thank you so much for being a part of the Family News Nerds. Let's do it again on Monday. This thing. Let's have a great Friday going into a wonderful weekend.